Okay, and we're rolling.
Oh God.
Welcome to the Honey Jam podcast. Woo! If you're not watching us on YouTube, please do so right now because today we have a very unique setup, don't we?
This is our first kind,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
Of this kind of setup.
And it's very strange because this is our first time doing live too. Our guest today is very, very nervous, but I think for all of us, this new setting is very exciting and very new.
I really like it because if you guys know, we had a lot of technical issues.
Too many.
We use this stupid damn program called Riverside, and it is the bane of my existence. And
Danielle's very
and then
nervous.
on top of that, there are always internet issues. My computer's freaking old. It gets hot, and it just ruins our lives.
Yeah, no.
Every time.
And I think this is great because we have instant reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to do this more often. But the only problem is Jess lives in OC and I live in the Valley. It's literally
Polar opposites.
2 hours with traffic.
Yeah.
But anyways, Jess, do you want to introduce our guest for today?
Dan is our very special friend.
Mm-hmm.
We love her very much.
Yes.
We all went to the same college together, UCLA. We're all Bruins.
Let's go.
And we met each other and knew each other since our freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like you and Dan have a pretty special relationship because we could talk about it. We can get into this more.
Yes.
But you guys went to Korea and did travel study together.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, have a special relation. And then me and Dan, we also got closer, probably starting senior year when our apartment mates kind of, rallied together too. So yeah. None. What did you say last time? None but other. None but other than Danielle Joo.
Welcome, Danielle, to the Honey Jam podcast.
Now I wish I saw the other episode to see how they reacted while you guys did an introduction.
Well, like I said, this is a very new environment.
Yes.
So, when we were recording, it was just I don't even think. Well, so far our guests have been just David and Josh, and those two. I don't think they were very nervous. Maybe just a little bit, but they didn't.
I think in the beginning they had a hard time kind of being themselves.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
맞아.
좀 목소리 깔고. They
어.
were talking in deep voices.
So in the beginning you're a little nervous, but then it becomes more of a
it
natural
eases up.
flow. So don't worry, don't be nervous. But the thing about Danielle is. She's actually never heard any of our episodes, but she's very supportive. She's been spreading the word of Honey Jam.
Yes.
So thank you, Danielle.
Yes.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm so nervous.
Wait, why are you so nervous?
Because it's a lot of things.
Okay.
Explain.
Number one, there's a camera.
Yeah.
Wait.
And lights. No one sees this setup.
It's
But
pretty legit.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did put some money into this production.
And you guys are famous
What?
to be funny and hilarious. So if this episode sucks, I am the clear variable.
벌써부터 웃겨. It's already funny. But that's funny that you're kind of nervous. Can I just share one thing?
Yeah.
So on Sunday, I was serving in children's ministry. A woman comes up to me. I've never seen her before. She was super 인상 너무 좋았어. She had a really cute little fringe and she looked super hip. And she had a really big smile. She's like, oh, you do a podcast, right?
my
And I was
gosh.
oh, yeah, how do you know us? And shout out to Carla. She was like, oh, my friend in Seattle. She lives in Seattle and she listens to you guys.
What?
And she said you guys are so funny. So she recommended it to me. So I know your podcast. I was like, okay, well, first of all, how does she hear about us in Seattle? So, I mean, I was very honored, so thankful, and also embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because this is, this podcast started off just a casual thing for friends to listen to. And even our friends sometimes don't listen to it, but it's okay. But people are listening.
Dude, okay, also that kind of reminds me.
Wait, but one more thing.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
One more thing. So I was feeling really happy and honored and embarrassed. I felt good, to be honest. But then the next week at church, we finished service and then we turn around and then this girl behind us she looks at me. She goes, oh, you have a YouTube channel, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, our podcast? I said that. No, dehydrator. And I was like, Oh, that's him.
Wow.
So I got humbled real quick. She's like,
Well, I mean,
what
but
podcast?
you're an essential part of David's videos because you are the last kind of like piece, right? To finish the reactions.
Yeah, and then we were both so embarrassed because Esther and Harris were right next to us. And Esther's like, ooh, first sighting at church. And I was like, wow, 조심해야 되겠다, 약간.
Dude, that's what I was going to say. Like, 순간적으로, yesterday I was like picking up dinner somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I was just like
in OC.
In OC. And I've had these kinds of instances too, where people come up to me. I haven't had a stranger come up to me, but a lot of people that I don't know well come up to me and say, hey,
at church?
At church, like when I go to like different social functions, people say, hey, I listened to your podcast. Or like people who I don't really talk to as often, they like come up to me and they're so nice enough to say like, I'm waiting for season 2, you know, things like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, dude, I'm so happy. And like I'm sure like strangers that we don't know could be like seeing us when we're outside in OC in LA. And I just had this weird thought. It's like a 연예인 thought, like 연예인병.
Celebrity.
Like, oh, like I should be careful with like how I act
in public.
In public, because I was picking something up and then I got like pissed about something. I can't remember why. And like 너무 짜증나서 like I was like, oh, okay, thank you, like to the server. But then I was like, what if the server watches Honey Jam or listens to Honey Jam and she knows me? She's gonna think I'm a busy. Yeah. So I was like, oh my god, I gotta be conscious of my public persona, you know.
It's what a lot of people do. Esther also said
shout out Esther.
How she went to like this function and they talked
party.
They didn't know
a cool LA party.
They didn't know it was a creators party. Yeah. They didn't know Esther was friends with you guys, and they brought up Honey Jam, like just like, oh, like there's a new podcast called Honey Jam, and she's like, crazy. Oh, they're actually like my friend's podcast. Yeah. So a lot of people listen, which is exactly why I don't want to be on this.
But you know, I mean, still, it's a still very small podcast. We're just bringing on friends. It's a new season. And I thought it was appropriate to bring Danielle as our first female friend.
Oh, okay.
Because she just has, there's so many stories with when it comes to Danielle. Yeah. Like from her, you know, her life at home with her family, in school, like living alone, like things like that. It's just like, kind of reminds me of like a sitcom sometimes. Her life is just not like funny in a mean way, because it's just so many things happening.
Yes.
My
Danielle, speak into the mic.
My hands and feet are cold right now.
Okay, okay.
Dan, why?
Because I'm nervous.
For the 5th time. Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but let's talk about your guys' like Korea experience. Because I feel like that in itself is such a fun trip. Yeah. And you guys have so many stories.
Yeah. That's true. And that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I just kind of want to start there. Like, how did you guys get close as friends? Like, what was the trip or like the event that made you guys get closer?
Yeah. I don't know how, Danielle, you could speak more into this, but that year, it was junior year of college. Jess and I, we went to Europe for a month.
We talked about it.
Yeah, for study abroad. And then I wanted to do like a quarter worth of studying abroad. And so Danielle and I decided to go to Korea. Went to Yonsei as exchange students, and we had a lot of fun. The thing is, at Yonsei, we only hung out with each other, and we didn't really make friends. Yeah, like because we were just too comfortable just hanging out together.
Which I feel very sorry for.
No,
I feel like Janice wanted to, and could have made other
more friends.
There were other people in the program that knew Janice, like. There was other people like in, was it like CCM? Or like KCCC?
Isaac?
Yes. Like people, yes. People like him.
Oh my gosh.
Who knew Janice and like, I could tell like we're ready to be friends with Janice.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, it's true. Because I'm really introverted and Janice knows I'm really introverted. I feel like she sacrificed a lot of socializing.
Okay, I will say, I mean, I had that like romang of like, you know, that Korean college campus, but I didn't really care about making friends. But it's funny because we did try to like really put ourselves out there, and we joined a club. But before we go into that story, speaking of Isaac, right? Yeah. So at Yonsei, they had a really cool program for the exchange students where they fully pay for a weekend trip in like, what city was it? Outside of Seoul. Like very cute. Like everything is fully paid. All you need to pay for is $100 deposit. And $20. So cheap. And you get that money back. It's just to secure a spot. So it was like very competitive to get in. But all you have to do is just show up. And then at the end of the trip, they give you back your $20.
Like they paid for housing.
Yeah.
And it's like a nice hotel.
Hotels.
They paid for all the meals. They paid for all the attractions. They paid for all the transportation.
And food.
Yeah, like everything.
But it's like limited space.
Very limited.
Yes.
Somehow we secured spots.
Yeah.
And Danielle was living on campus, and because my grandparents are in Seoul, I lived in Kondaeipgu, and it was like a 30-minute commute. But the thing is, like, you had to be on campus by like 7 a.m. or something.
And it was like before the semester started.
Yeah.
So she was not familiar with the campus at all. And I didn't know how to guide her either. So it was like, right, it was your first time going from the subway to where we needed to meet.
Yeah, it was kind of like a kickoff trip to the semester. So like, you know, the exchange students can get to know each other.
Ooh.
I was like, oh shoot, the 첫차, the first train station, the subway is at like 7 o'clock or 6:30. And it's pretty tight, like literally 30 minutes. It took me 30 minutes to get to school, and they were leaving at like 7:30 or something like that.
And it's like there are limited spots.
Yeah.
So they told us if you don't make the spot, you can wait. And at 7 o'clock, there's a huge wait. Like there's just people waiting for people not to make it. Like so,
Like the wait list.
like they came to
At
like
7 in the morning.
That's crazy.
yes.
And so Danielle and I were like, I finally got off the station. I was like, Danielle, I'm here. I'm going to campus. And she's like, hurry up. We only have like 10 minutes. Where are you? We're like talking on the phone. I was like, I don't know where I am. I don't know. Just tell them I'm almost there. Like, I'm literally on campus.
I only signed up for this trip because she said she was gonna go. Like, remember, I'm a very introverted person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, okay, if Janice goes, I'll have someone to like be friends with. I was like, fine. And she's the one that really wanted to go.
Yeah.
I really,
Yes.
really
I mean,
want
it
to
was
go.
a very coveted, like,
Yeah.
But like,
spot.
I wasn't. Like, I was only like, fine, we'll do it because she really wanted to do it. This is what I mean. Like, she was so extroverted. She wanted to meet people. Anyways, but I was like, I begged the ajashi. I was like, my friend is here. She got off at Shincheon. Can you just wait 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And Janice was on. I think what was frustrating was Janice was on campus.
But she didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so anyways, I missed the cut.
What?
They had to leave.
Are you
they left.
freaking serious?
They literally left.
And like, think about it now, I could have just gotten off. Because it was a terrible trip for me because Janice wasn't there. I clearly remember me, and I had no friends to sit with on because it's a 2 bus.
Yeah.
And I just sat with a stranger, and I was like, I was so depressed. But she was also so depressed.
We were
my
equally so sad that, like,
gosh.
you know, we weren't together on the trip. But apparently on the trip, no one wanted to hang out with Danielle. Like, no one wants. You're supposed to go there to meet friends and stuff like that, but no one wanted to like sit with her. So she was alone.
Like, even
Oh,
the
as a roommate.
in the
Oh, Dad.
Don't cry.
so even the bus ride was lonely. I
Yeah.
sat with like the one other person no one else wanted to sit with. And like, think about it now. I could have made friends with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was too sad
Yeah.
in the moment to like. I was just
You
like,
couldn't recover from
yes,
the
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was too much damage. And I was like, you know what? Fine. Let's just enjoy this trip.
As much as you can.
Yes. And we got to the hotel. It was freaking nice. And I don't know why. I never thought about how I just assumed the rooms were assigned.
Oh, you have to decide.
And we got there and they're like, okay, choose your roommate.
Oh my.
거기서 또 I 멘붕 왔어. I was like,
어떡해.
Who do I choose? I don't know anybody.
And then I was like, oh, okay. The one girl that didn't
sat
have
with.
any friends. I looked for her. She made a friend with someone. And she had chosen someone. So I was like, oh my gosh. I have absolutely... But it was crazy. Everyone had a pair.
Yeah.
I don't know how I ended up with the person I ended up with.
Uh-huh.
I think the teacher was like, someone room with her.
안 그래도
It was-
서러운데.
Yes.
Oh.
And it was sad because
You're not crying, are you?
it was a nice hotel.
Yeah.
I think what made me super sad was if I just imagined Janice there, it would have been the greatest kickoff
Yes.
trip
Oh.
of our
Semester.
semester.
Yeah.
Yes. But it turned out to be the worst.
Wait,
And I think it really set the tone
Yeah.
for the rest of my semester in making friends.
like it kind of like put damage in your confidence.
I was like, fudge, nobody wants to be my friend.
Oh,
The reason why I want to bring this up though is because
Isaac.
Isaac. Shout out to Isaac.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Can you please talk about that story?
Basically, okay, so we got to the hotel. This was after no one wanted to sit with me on the bus. This was after nobody wanted to room with me. And I was like, it's a nice hotel though. Let me just walk around.
Yeah, and enjoy
and
the facilities.
'cause it was so nice.
Yeah, like
And-
5-star hotel.
And it was like right before fall started, right before right after summer ended. So like there's so many flowers. Like it was so pretty.
Yeah.
I was walking around and then I saw like the group of our Yonsei students.
Yeah, your fellow
Yes,
peers.
yes. I didn't go to make friends with them, but I was just walking past them. And then this guy, what is he say? He's like, 저기요?
Yeah,
Like, 저기요, 죄송한데 혹시 사진 하나 찍어 주실 수 있으세요? And I
which
was,
means
can you take a picture for us?
in Korean.
Yes, in
but
Korean.
in a very formal way.
Yeah, like it was like 안녕하세요. Like it was very like he doesn't, and for sure he knows who I am because we said
my.
hi, and I was so 어이없어. I didn't know how to respond. So I was like, 네. I was like, 네, and it was crazy because there's like 8 of them.
Yeah.
At least one of them must have known. At least even as like, because like when
I mean,
you're
wait, hold on. You rode on the bus
yes,
with these people.
exactly. And it was clearly I was struggling at the hotel lobby to find a roommate. Like you just notice like certain people,
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like one out of these 8 people must have known I was part of their group.
Yeah.
But anyways, in the end, I took the picture, and then all of us are like, 감사합니다.
Isaac
Like,
said this.
yes, all of them, and I was like, 네.
My-
I heard through him that he has really, really bad eyesight.
oh.
Like very, very
no.
no, like
I mean, yes,
almost
maybe.
almost blind. That's what I remember he said.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I just thought it was
He walked because they were in an area where it was like stairs.
Yeah.
And he walked very well down, up and down the stairs to ask me to take the picture. So
you know what, Isaac, if you're listening, please comment as to why the hell you did that.
and you know what's so sad?
Yeah.
Is he probably doesn't even remember that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, he definitely remembers that trip.
Just a distant memory,
Yes.
but that moment he probably
Yes.
doesn't
Yeah.
recall.
Oh.
Right.
I asked someone to take a picture.
But to you, it was such a core memory.
Yes. And to be honest, I don't remember it until she brings it up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just such a painful trip for for Danielle, and I was so sad.
Yeah.
that I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah,
attend.
yeah.
I was so sad. My grandparents felt so. They were like, "Oh, should we could drive you there?
Yeah.
Where is the
To
retreat?"
like the Shigor.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
drive. Like, how about we'll drive you? I was like, how about it doesn't work like that. You have
Yeah.
to have a spot.
Yeah.
I can't just go and join them.
Aww.
And they ate like really nice, expensive food,
Yeah.
all for free. And I was like, so sad.
It was a very interesting situation where she felt so sorry for herself and I felt so sorry for myself. And
Were you mad at Janice at all?
no, it was just like the situation just sucked.
Yeah.
Dan, like once you get to know her, she's so funny.
Yeah.
She's so
Yes.
charming.
Mm-hmm.
And like we love Dan. That's why we brought her on because we
Exactly.
think she has so many stories. Like you said, like we feel like she lives in a sitcom.
Yeah.
And 너무 유쾌하잖아.
This is literally just one of like 10 stories I wrote down on my
Exactly.
notes that I want to talk about today.
Exactly.
But can we also talk about Danielle? She insists that she's an introvert. But don't you think she's extroverted? What do you think, Jess?
I think she's an introvert.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you think she gets drained by being in groups of people?
like large groups.
Large groups.
I think she gets energized by smaller groups and
Uh-huh.
with people she's like comfortable with, and if the activity is something that she's enjoying,
Yeah.
then I think she gets energized by that, which
Yeah.
I think is a very introverted quality.
That's
no?
true. That's true.
But then like I feel like Dan, every time we go to like a large social function,
Yeah.
where there are a lot of people,
Yeah.
and she has to meet a lot of newer faces, then she gets a little nervous. And I feel like after like that event, she always asks me like, Jess, like how do you like talk to people? You were talking to this person for so long. How did you do that? And she's
Yeah.
like genuinely curious.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I was just talking. And I'm like genuinely confused because I'm so extroverted.
Yeah.
I will say though,
This
I
is
got
very
pretty.
natural.
Yes,
natural
it's
to
like
you.
I can't explain why I did that. It's just I was just doing it.
I will say though, it's like the introverts have this misconception of like being awkward,
Yeah.
but introverts is like I can do it,
Yes.
but afterwards I'm freaking tired.
Yeah.
We did an activity I really liked on Sunday. I had to wind down by driving an extra hour afterwards because we had like a church event on Saturday and then I was like so tired.
Wow.
So I drove for like an extra hour because
Yeah.
I needed
Just
to like
wind down.
How
How about you? I mean, because we know Janice, she's very, very like 100% extroverted. If after like, you know, the same event, do you need that time to wind down or like, you know, kind of charge your battery, or like how do you feel afterwards?
I mean, I feel good.
There you go. Hey, we have our short for extroverts versus introverts. I touched upon this a few episodes back, but I was saying like this is when we were really discouraged about our podcast because we had a lot of technical difficulties, and we like by that time we like maybe filmed like 4 times or something.
Crazy.
I was
4 like 1 hour episodes.
You like tried.
Yes, and I was like, Janice, you know, if this doesn't work out, like, let's stop. Like, this isn't meant to be.
Let's fold this
and
project.
we're feeling pretty discouraged. But then I went to community groups, and then I was like talking to people, and everyone was telling me that they're excited for Honey Jam. And then afterwards, I felt so energized after meeting people. I came home and I was like, let's do this at 10:30 p.m. So for me, like, I feel kind of the opposite. Like, I feel like, and sometimes it's not even like I'm so happy I feel good, but it's more like I'm so awake and energized.
Yes, exactly.
Versus like feeling drained.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too. Like after a big event, I'm like, oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then I just sleep. That's my unwinding, I guess.
Yeah.
Just get a good 8 hours of sleep, and then the next day I'm totally fine.
What is that like, guys? Sleeping 8 hours, by the way.
I don't know either.
Oh, you don't know?
Just
But
as a
it's
baby
like
mama.
how you feel.
Yeah.
How you don't understand how I like being alone. Like, cause you hate it when you're alone.
Yeah. I
And-
mean, I appreciate it a little bit more as an
As married
don't.
person.
30-something-year-old.
Dude, okay. This is the words of Janice Hall
Yeah.
that you said when you came over. I'm so happy that we're doing this. And they're sleeping over, by the way, after this podcast because David is like backpacking and I don't have to be lonely anymore. Like, I would cherish that time
Exactly.
at home. Because your parents aren't home either, right?
They are. They're home.
Okay, but well, you get to be by yourself because this is like a rare opportunity where
Yes.
David is going out, right?
Yeah.
He's not
I mean,
home.
don't get me wrong. You know, I like my own time.
Yeah.
But these days there's no dramas to watch. You know, doom scroll just gets old.
Yeah.
Sleep over with 2 of my closest friends. Why not?
Yeah. I mean,
You know.
Yeah, it's fun, but
But you don't understand. I mean,
No,
you're different, Jess. Now that you have a kid.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like you start at an energy level much lower than us to begin with.
That's true.
Right?
yeah.
It's funny because the first thing Danielle said when we got in is like, Jess, why do you look so tired?
But like she did look really tired.
I'm
And I say
exhausted.
this because I was tired.
Yeah.
But I looked at her and I was like, oh, she's clearly more tired than I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason I want to talk about the introvert extrovert thing is because in Korea, this happened in Korea too. My sister got married. She had her wedding there, and Danielle happened to be in Korea at the time, so she was invited too. She showed up, and she obviously doesn't know anybody there because it's Korea, for goodness sakes. She's like, Janice, I'm literally gonna go to the ceremony, and I'm bouncing.
Yeah.
What? Say it. What are you gonna say?
But I knew you.
Yes, she knew me, so that's why she showed up, and she's like, oh, you know, like Korean wedding. Let's see what's it about. And Korean weddings usually just end in like a ceremony. It's very bland, whatever. But then they kind of, they rented like a big room and they did like an after party, which is very different from what most Korean people do.
Yeah.
And I was like, Danielle, just come. It'll be fun. We'll introduce them to like games and like we'll show them what like American girls are like. And then we went and it was so awkward. Like, the music was very quiet. And, like they had like a buffet kind of like food situation, very formal dinner vibe.
I see.
And
I
this
was like-
this wasn't even like the wedding. This was the after party
Yes.
with just
The
their
friends.
closest
Oh.
friends. So I was very confused
Is
at
this
this.
supposed to be lit?
Yeah, exactly. I was
Exactly.
very confused at
Yeah.
this vibe. Like they're the closest friends and they're like all super cute. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're all good looking, like all
Oh.
pretty.
Yeah.
But they're just like
As a very
quiet.
formal
Yes,
kind of vibes.
Well, it's because my sister's husband had like different groups of friends who didn't know each other. So they're kind of strangers
kinda
within
awkward.
each other. And my
Yeah.
sister's friends didn't know all of Woo-young's friends. So that's why like it took some time to warm up. And then Danielle's like, all right, I'm going to go soon. But then guess what? She stayed the entire time, led the games. She literally taught like 50 people how to play Rage Cage.
Wow.
My favorite game.
Not only that, she stayed until 3차. The third round, we went to 노래방, karaoke.
And she said she was leaving after the ceremony.
She stayed until the end.
Well,
And so I was like,
What
are
happened?
you sure you're introverted?
I know why Danielle stayed that long. Because they were cute boys.
no, they were all taken. They were all taken.
But you didn't know that,
stayed
right?
Because I love Rage Cage.
Yeah.
I love games. I like structured socializing.
Oh.
Like, as long as I'm not small talking the entire time, that's what drains me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
But it's like when you're just playing games, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
But you're still getting to know the person too.
In a way.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Dan just likes games.
Yes, I love games and karaoke.
Wait, this is the perfect segue to talk about.
We're going to talk about Avalon?
Wait, what is Avalon, you guys?
What?
For people who don't know.
It's just like a kind of mafia game.
Yeah.
Basically, you're trying to find the bad guy,
Okay.
the ultimate bad guy, and like
Yes.
the two bad underlings,
Yes.
right? And then the citizens or like the good guys have to
Yeah.
overcome them, right?
Yeah. So it's like mafia.
Mafia.
Okay.
We played multiple rounds. And this is because the first 2 or 3 rounds, I kept messing up. So like there's like a nighttime kind of like mafia where you have to close your eyes and then like you have to reveal yourself if you're like the bad guy
Yeah.
or like the good guy or whatever, right? And then I think like the first 3 rounds, I kept messing up where like I would kind of like, you know, be bad about disguising myself. So I would like laugh during like nighttime and like people would already know, you
Yeah.
know? Or like I talked about this before, but my rash is like I get pretty sensitive.
Stress rashes.
So I get stress rashes, and if I'm like lying, it like shows up on my skin. And like Janice would point out like, hey, you have like a little rash on your foot. Like, are you the bad guy? I'm like, no. I'd be panicking, and then I would like give it away, right?
Yeah.
So I was like doing pretty bad. And then by like the 4th or 5th game, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna buckle up.
Yeah. Bring your A game.
I'm gonna bring my A game because I was the ultimate bad guy.
Hidden.
The
Hidden
hidden
bad guy.
where people, no one except the bad guys know that you're the bad guy.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what's his
Mordred.
name? You would remember the name. Mordred. I was Mordred,
Uh-huh.
and my 2 bad guys knew I was Mordred, right?
Yeah.
Just that. And then on the contrary, Danielle was Merlin, and this is the ultimate
Good guy.
Good guy.
Yeah.
For this round, like again, I made this like tajim, this like okay, I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna go the 9 yards for this.
Hey. It's an idiot. Danielle doesn't listen to our episodes. So
I'm
she
gonna
doesn't know.
go the 9 yards
Yeah.
to, you know, make this happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna disappoint my friends. I'm gonna play with all like the best I can,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I went all out. And then what ended up happening was I kind of rallied the people to think that I'm the ultimate good guy.
Yeah.
And then you could tell Danielle was panicking. And she already knew by that point, like, okay, like this Jess is the, you know, bad guy.
Yeah.
And so she was trying with all her might to be like, no, guys, listen to me.
Yeah.
There was something that happened that was clear that you and Esther were bad.
Yes.
And I was logically explaining to them that they have to be bad.
Yeah.
But they were just like,
Yeah. Because I was so passionate and I
yes.
brought my A game.
yes,
You
and
did, yeah.
no, you hadn't played like that in the other
Yes,
rounds.
that's
So
true.
Even though I was logically explaining to them, all they could feel is
My
your
passion.
your goodness.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
My
And-
acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was so confused.
Yeah. And it was to the point where Danielle was getting really frustrated.
Yes.
And then the thing is, like, that was kind of feeding into me
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
I was able to play like harder,
confidently. Yeah, yeah,
confidently because I was like, oh, I got them.
Yes, yes.
And I was like, oh, Danielle 지금 she's getting mistaken as the bad
Yeah.
guy. So I was like playing into that, and I
Yeah.
was like being a little bit more confident in my game. And then what ended up happening was the bad guys won.
Yeah.
And I kind of rallied this
Yeah.
for me to, you know, like win with Esther, right? And then for me, after the game was over, and then at the end, what ends up happening is like, okay, all right, like Mordred, reveal yourself, right? And then you're supposed to like have this dramatic like, oh, I was Mordred. And usually what ends up happening is like everyone's like, oh my gosh, like dude, how could you do this? That was a good game. That was a good game, man. That was crazy. That's the kind of reaction I was hoping for. So like everyone's like, all right, who's the bad guy?
We're all looking at Danielle. We're like, Danielle, reveal yourself.
I know, Diane, come on, we know you, right? And then I'm like, hey guys, it's me. I'm Mordred. And then everybody, even Esther, who was part
who was the part of the bad guy?
Who knows Jess is bad.
Who knows I'm bad? Even Esther included, all of you guys looked at me as if I was a monster. There was like deafening silence. You know what I mean?
Like we looked at you in horror.
Yeah, in horror. And then with that reaction, I started crying. It kind of like put me back into reality. Like, oh, I played too hard. Like Danielle's upset.
But this is the beauty of Avalon. For listeners who play Avalon hard, they know it brings out kind of like every emotion. Like it could feel so good, but it could feel so bad. It was one of those really intense games. Yes. And
wait,
like,
and then didn't you end up crying?
Yes, it was just so funny because I started crying instantly when I saw you guys looking at me in horror. And then Danielle started crying right after I cried because she was so upset. And we were just both bawling. I was like, you guys told me I was sucking in the previous round, so I tried hard. And why are you guys looking at me like that? Why? And then Dad's like wiping her tears, like, why didn't you guys believe me? Like so much anger. So after that, we have never played Avalon.
Never.
I have never played Avalon.
Wow.
And it was one of my favorite games.
It was a pretty scarring moment for all of us.
It's definitely like a low point in my life. Like, I'm not really embarrassed by a lot of stuff, but that...
Wait, why were you embarrassed?
The fact that Avalon made me cry.
Like how your emotion, how frustrated you were.
It's so lame. Like that I cried over Avalon. That I lost Avalon.
And for me, I'm kind of traumatized by that because of the monster that came out of me. You know what I mean? Like
by yourself.
But like
yourself.
But like it's sad because it's true. You should have felt victorious.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, and we took that moment away from you.
You guys took my victory away from
I'm sorry we took that moment away from you.
It's fine.
Because I would have felt so victorious.
I do want to talk about a little bit more of our Yonsei days.
I remember you guys went on an MT.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
So Danielle and I were like, okay, we should at least try to make some friends, right? Like we can't just be hanging out with each other the entire time. So we decided to join a club, and I don't know how we decided to join this.
You chose this club.
Stupid club, but I think I chose it. I'm pretty sure I chose it because it was an acting club, a club
theater?
Where kind of theater, but it's like they pick a production and it's a play in English. Yeah. So in that year it was Frozen. Frozen.
Like Disney
let it
Frozen?
Go, let it go.
Whoa.
I know.
It's like half Koreans, half international students.
Yeah. And again, I don't know why I chose this club because there were no cute boys and the club was lame. But we signed up. We paid money to join this club to get everyone close. They had an MT, which is what is MT?
It's like a retreat, a college retreat with your club.
Yeah, and you know, if you watch Korean dramas, there's always a scene with MT, right?
Lovely Runner had an MT.
Yes, Lovely Runner had a
era.
yes, exactly. Yes. So that's what an MT is. And so, you know, we went in thinking like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so much fun. But like on the way there, right? Like we met this guy who was in the club, and he's like very, very dorky guy.
He's like super preppy.
Yes.
Like had a collared like polo shirt, like really very kempt. Like what is it?
Very proper guy.
Yeah, very polished.
Yes, very polished.
Okay.
And we were go on the way to the retreat site, and we all took the subway together, like a bunch of like 20 of us on the subway. And Danielle and I were just being like stupid, like just laughing and having fun. Right. And like, I guess this guy was like, oh, like, what are you guys talking about? He was like very interested in our conversation. And like, we got to know him and we're like, oh, what an interesting guy. Cause he's like so nerdy, but like, he's like very nice guy. Anyways, we get to the site and like, we're eating kogi and like people are drinking and it's like a good vibe. And like, I'm having fun. I like was using chopsticks and I was like eating and then I was like talking to a guy. And in Korea, the college students, the age ranges a lot because, you know, a lot of people take breaks in between the school year. A lot of the guys come back from military, so not everyone is the same age. And I remember this guy, he was like 28 or something, almost 30, like much older than us, and we were like 21. And I used my chopsticks to like point at him. I was like, oh, like like you can't, like, I was just like having fun messing around. And then he was like, oh, you don't point at people with your chopsticks, it's considered very rude. And I was like, oh, I was just so flustered. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, oh, I'm like, because I'm from America, I didn't realize, I said that.
He said you don't point your chopstick to your senior. Someday.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was like, it was zero joke in it.
Yeah.
Because it could have been like hey, yeah, 이런 거 아니야. It could have been like, and it was like a great time. We were having like a great
it
time.
Went from 0 to 100.
Yes, yes. And everyone got silent.
Yeah, everybody. And I was like,
oh, like kapunsa.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm so sorry. It's because I didn't know like that was rude. Like because I'm from America. I don't know why I said that. I was panicking.
And he's like so much older than you guys.
I was like panicking, and then he was like, well, this is Korea, so you better learn the Korean culture. And I was like,
in front of everybody.
In front of everybody, and I was like, sorry.
And I was like,
체할 뻔했어 진짜. And like from there, that was the first night, like the first couple hours we were there, and from there that ruined the whole trip for me. So I just stayed quiet the entire time, and like we both didn't drink. Well, maybe we drank a little bit, but we were like, we wanted to get out of there because it was like kind of lame.
Yeah.
And then our friend that we made in the subway, he got butt drunk, right? And then when he got drunk, he was like a completely different person.
Wait. This is the polished guy who said this 젓가락 하지 말라고?
No. The chocolate guy is an older guy. The polished guy is the guy we met in the subway.
I see.
Super like polished and proper guy.
Yeah.
Ended up having a huge tattoo on his chest. He came over. He's like super drunk. He's like, hey, like you guys, like I actually thought are you guys like lesbian? To us, and we're like, excuse me.
it was crazy to me that he was just like so like, oh, like what are you guys talking about? But inside his head, he was like judging us.
I know.
Yeah.
It was so funny. She was so offended. She's like, 아니요, 저 남자친구 있는데요.
Like, I have a boyfriend, bro. That club was so whack. I was just sad because like, even though I had a boyfriend, you have that drama romang.
Yeah.
There's Honggang in Nevertheless. They went to MT.
선재.
They went to Sonje. He went to MT.
Yeah. There were none?
None
Really?
whatsoever.
Not even on campus?
But it's because
on campus there were some
Yes,
cuties.
there
There
was
were
a
some
lot.
cuties. Every time we saw a cutie, we'd be like pushing each other.
I took one class with Koreans.
Oh.
Koreans.
All the other classes, it was like for international, like to get credits for our UC courses. But I took one class with like Yonsei,
That's cool.
Korean people.
Yeah.
And
Wait, was the
that-
class in Korean?
No,
Okay.
it was in English.
Oh.
Which is crazy that they studied in English.
Yeah.
So it was so cool. That professor, like, she speaks English. Like, she's like a Korean American.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I want to be her.
Oh.
Like, she gets to live in Korea, but speak in English, but work at this prestigious institution.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like, she was in heels and like,
What kind of class was it?
it was like a.
Danielle got straight A's, by the
I
way.
don't remember.
That semester.
Wow.
I got a few B's.
It really, like, working with Yonsei kids, really, because, like, KCM, we don't study.
Yeah.
But Yonsei, they study hard. And we had a lot of group projects in that Korean. I don't remember what the class was.
But there were cuties there too?
There's a lot of good-looking people. I'm actually still friends with some of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
With the good looking people?
Like, but it's like after you know them,
Oh,
they're...
it's not as...
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I was like, oh,
You should have asked them what clubs they were in.
But I kind of don't believe you, Dan, because the
let me
people
show
you
you.
think...
Let me show you.
The people that Dan
thinks is
thinks
cute.
are cute, they're questionable, I would
Very.
say. It's because Dan's style is, she always says this with us, but Dan always kind of like goes for and is like very attracted to people who have a lot of yoyu.
Yes.
Yoyu is the Korean word for, that's a very...
swaggy.
Swag.
Is it swag?
I think that's the closest term to describe yo-yo,
Like,
right?
relax.
Yes, like
Swag.
Effortless.
effortless.
Yes.
It can mean effortless. It can mean swag. Basically, in like kind of like a panic situation,
Yeah.
or just like the vibe that you carry. You're very relaxed and you're very constant and steadfast, and you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
you just you carry yourself with a lot of confidence, but in an effortless way.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
That's a great way to
Yes.
define it.
And that is kind of like Dan's top characteristic
Yeah.
that she really looks for in a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is another perfect segue.
Yeah.
So I remember in college, Danielle was obsessed with a dancer. And we definitely have to drop his name because he's big in the dancing community. Yes.
Yes.
I am not ashamed.
Okay, you share it then.
No, you share it.
Well, this dancer at UCLA, was he a class under us? A year younger?
I didn't know that.
I think he
Is
was.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how I know that, but his name was Franklin Yu.
Woo!
Shout out.
Shout out Franklin Yu. Jess is doing the dance right now,
Yeah.
the iconic dance. But Danielle had not like a fat crush on him, but she was obsessed with this guy because he was part of a club called ACA, which is like a Chinese club, but not just for Chinese people. And they would go to competitions and they would compete and win first place because they were that good.
Yes.
And Franklin Yu was one of the choreographers, right? And like,
Well, there are multiple choreographers within that group, and usually they were like the seniors who
yes.
are like the dance leaders or something,
Yeah.
right? That's what I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And
But-
there are like multiple parts to the whole piece.
Yeah, like
the
different
dance piece.
songs that
Yeah.
they're in charge of. And I didn't know about this until Danielle showed this to us. But there was a time when she was obsessed with this specific competition video.
Yeah.
And Franklin's portion was really good and
Yes.
swaggerific.
It's honestly legendary.
It was like very new.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Like no one moved like that.
Yes.
So I was obsessed with Kang Daniel. I watched a video of one of his songs, and I was like, his dance moves remind me of Franklin Yu. And then I found out it was actually choreographed by Franklin Yu. So
Which
he's
is
like,
crazy.
he's still doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very successful
Yeah.
in that part of the world.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But you had a crush on him because of his swag, right? In the dance.
Yes, I was a fan.
Yeah.
Not a crush because I had no idea who this guy was.
What can our listeners like look up on YouTube to watch that dance?
ACA front row. That's all you gotta look up.
It's like a very specific video.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're wearing black and white long sleeve shirts.
Yeah.
And I think Franklin Yu is like the cover for it, right? Or is he?
I don't know. It's an orange background. It's an
Yes.
orange background.
Yeah, but you have to watch like the front row
Yeah.
version
Yeah.
because there's also like a kind of
Zoomed
like
out
zoomed out.
version,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. We basically memorized it because we watched it so many times. We watched it recently
Yeah.
and it's still
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
See, like everyone recognizes it was a great
It was.
piece.
Yeah, and they won first place
Yeah.
for that,
Yeah.
right?
Like
Yeah.
considering these were college kids
Yeah.
who were studying at UCLA
Yeah.
and they like found time to like do this. It was crazy.
Speaking of like having campus crushes, right? There was a guy on campus who was also Chinese, actually.
Oh no, you're not gonna talk about this. Are you serious?
I
I'm not
don't
gonna
know.
drop the name though.
I won't drop the name.
Okay,
I won't drop the
okay.
name. But
I first noticed him. So I was walking on campus,
Yeah.
right? This was our sophomore year.
yeah,
So this was when
Yeah.
we were all single.
living with Kiju.
Living with
Shout out
Kiju, who
Kiju.
was a freshman. Yes,
Did you
Kiju,
still
if you're
talk to
listening
him?
to this, we miss you.
We miss you,
We hope you're
Kiju.
well. But Janice and I were sophomores. Kiju was a freshman, and we were living in the dorms together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just remember walking on campus, and I was going to my class, and I see this guy. I thought he was Korean at first. He was really tall. He had really broad shoulders.
What's his name? Wait, what's his name?
Yeah, he was not in our circle.
Like I did not know this guy at all.
I see.
But stood out like just that because of that, because he was so big. But then on top of that, like he kind of had like a Song Joong-ki vibe. Like he was
Very
like
similar to
very
Song Joong-ki.
pale. He looked very like handsome, but in like a nice, approachable way.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
you
Very-
loved Song Joong-ki
At the time.
Yes, because of
착한
착한
남자.
남자.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that.
And I just remember like looking at this guy for the first time, and he literally had like a halo around him. That's how I felt.
Who is this
I'm
guy?
surprised you have never seen
Yeah.
this guy. Because if you see him, you're like, oh, Song Joong-ki.
Yes, I was just like kind of like, oh my, like 약간 반했어
Yeah,
by him
for sure.
because he was so good looking, attractive, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like wow. And then as soon as I got back to the dorms, I like told Janice and Kiju about this guy. I was like, guys, you wouldn't believe me. There's a guy who looks like Song Joong-ki. He's buff. He's tall
On our campus.
on our campus, and like I still remember he had headphones
Yes,
on
iconic.
always.
Yeah.
The Beats headphones.
Yeah.
And then he also had a dimple.
Dimples.
And that's my weakness. And then Kiju saw him and she's like, you're right. I saw a halo around him. I saw a halo around him. She's like, 나 누군지 알아. I saw him. And she's like, 너무 잘생겼어.
I saw him
and then
separately
later
too.
on, you saw him too. And then
Okay.
you're like, oh my gosh, I know who you're talking about. Because he stands out like a highlighter.
Yeah.
Like, he's so
Clearly 송중기 vibe.
Yes. Yeah. And then you could continue the story, but we had he had no idea
Who we were. Because he wasn't in Casey. Yeah.
But then every time we passed by him, we would like nudge each other or like we would kind of be like smile at him. And then I think he knew like, oh, these girls are like looking at me.
Yeah.
So he would like send us like a kind of like a smile like with his dimples. And we'd be like,
just remember like whenever we saw him on campus, it was like a treat.
yeah.
Like seeing a celebrity.
It was the highlight of our like walks to the campus.
We'd be like giggling after, like, oh
my
my god, we saw him!
Yes.
Exactly like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
You should have
Approached him.
made a move.
No.
So what happened was,
Yeah.
I found out that I knew somebody who knew his girlfriend.
Yes.
Oh.
He was dating at the time.
Yeah. So I told her like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Honestly, we just saw him as like a crush. We didn't actually want to like make a move on him.
Yeah,
You know.
it was like a celebrity
Yes,
crush
yes,
almost.
Because he looked like Song Joong-ki.
Yeah.
So like I told the friend, like, dude, her boyfriend is so cute. He looks like Song Joong-ki.
Yeah.
And she told her friend. And apparently her friend was like kind of upset by that.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I think he heard through his girlfriend. He must have.
Yeah.
And he probably was flattered. And he would always like flash a dimple at us every time we passed by.
Segue into like we were talking about how Dan, her life is like a sitcom
Yeah.
and just crazy things happen to Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of wanted to give you guys a glimpse of Dan's life because you wouldn't believe
Yeah.
these things
pretty
that happened
crazy.
to Dan.
Are we doing the roommate story first?
Yeah,
Or
let's start off with the roommate. Like let's go in chronological order,
I love
shall
that.
we?
I love that.
So, Dan, why don't you kind of share like what happened with your roommates? Is it just one roommate or like a couple of
Both of
roommates
them.
that were kind of
I'm trying to filter this story.
back
Can
in
we
college?
get the full shebang?
Basically, freshman year, I had
Two random roommates.
Two random roommates.
Oh.
And
What can I say? They were crazy.
okay, yes, they were both very difficult roommates.
Oh, both of them.
Yes.
Too random. They
Yes.
didn't even know each other.
Yes.
Wow.
Two very random roommates. We were all Asian, and I had really high hopes
Yeah.
that we would be best friends because that's what everyone goes into college thinking,
True.
you know?
True.
And I was like very excited. They were both really cute, and they had really cute blankets and stuff. I was like, yes, this is
My vibe.
I'm gonna be best friends.
Yeah.
But basically, like, I'll share like one story of each of them.
One
Like
of
during
them.
freshman year, I lost 4 Bruin cards, which is like ID cards.
Yeah.
And I had to replace them, and they're $26 to replace.
Very expensive.
Yeah, as a college student, but I need them because that's how I get in and out of our rooms, like our
food.
meals.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, dude, how am I losing 4 Bruin cards? I
Yeah.
am such an idiot. But also, it's not completely out of character for me because
Yes.
I do misplace things a lot.
Yes.
But
you know?
also, it's like 4 Bruin cards.
Yes.
That's so hard because
It's-
you're using it every
Yes.
day.
It's like I misplace it, but it's always like I find it eventually.
Yeah.
But this, like, because I need it the next day.
Yeah.
Like, I had to. So, anyways, I went through freshman year thinking I was an idiot, and then junior year, I got my first college job, and my coworker like met me for the first time.
Yeah.
She's like, I was like, oh, like, hi, I'm Danielle, and then she's like, are you Danielle Joo? And I was like, yes.
How do you know me?
She's like, did you room with
Beep.
Did you room with Beep? And I was like, yes. And I was like, there's nothing that good that can come out of this, you know?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there's a lot of other stories, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, fudge, I can't be friends with this girl.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. She's like, oh my goodness. I'll tell you this now because I'm not really friends with her anymore.
Yeah.
But I was friends with her during freshman year, and we used to go to your room all the time. And you know, like, she used to get your Bruin card from your desk and throw it out the window. So she saw my Bruin cards on my desk and threw it out the window. That was the reason I lost.
Psycho.
And I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Why did she do that?
I don't know. But she did kind of like, what do you call it? Like sticky hands?
Uh-huh.
Like she just like touching
Other people's things.
Other people's things.
Yeah.
Yes. That was one roommate. My other roommate.
Wait. I'm sorry. Can we just backtrack a little bit? Why did she do that?
Yeah,
I
does
don't
she
know.
have like a personal vendetta?
I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know
Oh,
what
you
I did.
still don't know the reason.
Yes, I don't
and
know.
that friend who told
Yes.
you years later, she didn't even tell you
Yes.
why.
She was just like, I feel so bad now.
What?
But at the time, I was her friend, so
Yeah.
like I couldn't say anything. But like now that I think about it, it really sucked. you
That's
know?
crazy.
So, anyways, I think she did it for no reason.
Wow.
I just think she thought it was.
Funny?
I don't know. I really don't know.
That is psycho behavior.
Yeah, it is something that I don't understand.
Yeah. Like, what did you do to her?
Yes,
Nothing.
I did absolutely nothing. And it was more psycho is for my birthday. She threw me happy birthday, and I was like, dude.
Like a surprise party.
Or like she saw Casey and people come and like throw me a birthday. She's like, "Oh, it was your birthday," and like they like set up something for my birthday. I was like, dude. But anyways,
What a weirdo.
and then my other roommate, you know, she was
Attractive
a very
girl.
pretty girl. And she just had
Were they both Asian?
yes, she just had like people over without really communicating to
Oh,
us
no.
what's gonna happen. I walked into some stuff that
You
I
got
wish.
Exiled.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, anyways, so because of that, again, I was very not confrontational.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't go to my room. I guess I gotta sleep in the piano room. So I would rent out the piano, you know, the little piano rooms, and I would sleep on the piano bench. But
Oh my gosh.
but a cute story that came out of it was because of that, I practiced piano. I had nothing to do, so I practiced piano, and I learned the Pirates of the Caribbean intro. Up to there. It took me 2 hours to learn that. It's really hard. But anyways, it took me 2 hours to learn it, and I just played it.
Yeah.
And then after I played it, the next door piano continued it. And then and I was like, it's
Me cute.
Destiny.
it was yes, this is exactly like I was like, oh my gosh, who is it? But then what's crazy was I told this story to someone, and they're like, oh, what if it was like a girl? And it completely ruined
Shattered.
my story. But anyways, that is another thing that happened to me because of my other roommate. I had to sleep, and I'm a big girl. I don't fit in that piano chair.
That's so sad.
Yeah, and I think
Wait,
that's why I have hip problems.
Because you slept on the piano chair?
Like
Not even under the chair, on the chair.
No, I didn't want to sleep on the floor.
That's so
Yeah.
sad.
So it's really sad. But shout out to T-Sung. I met her second year, second semester, and I slept in her room a lot afterwards, and that's how we became really close.
Wow.
That's
But yes.
messed up, man.
By senior year, every year there was something. So senior year, I was like, I'm commuting.
Yeah.
And
No
guess
more
what?
roommates.
I
There was drama our senior
and
year.
I was not.
That episode got a lot of views.
Yeah. It's our
So,
most
yes.
viewed and listened to.
Oh, I didn't get to be a part of that.
A life update for Danielle. She's finally moving out of her parents' place and getting her own place with her own
Dude.
bathroom, own bedroom, but she has to share the kitchen, right? So hopefully she doesn't have crazy roommate or what do you call
Oh,
that?
you will have a
Like
housemate.
housemates?
Yeah. But you have your own room. Okay.
So it's like a situation, like a, what was it?
응답하라.
Koara's 응답하라 situation where it's like a house full of other people, mainly USC
Grad students.
grad students. I see.
But yes.
So hopefully no crazy
No more.
nightmare stories come out of that.
Yeah. Hopefully a romance comes out of this.
Oh. I think it's safe to say that we can wrap it up with Kangchu
Okay.
because we were going to do one more story, but I don't think these ladies can handle anymore. But I will say, I think Danielle has gotten warmed up.
Yeah.
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 More
yeah,
warmed
yeah.
up. Yes.
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think
very
it'll be
comfortable.
funny for you to watch me the first 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yes.
For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to invite you again.
Yeah.
Because the stories,
It never stops.
they never stop.
Yeah.
So Danielle, I don't know if you've heard of this corner. It's called the Kangchu Corner. It's where you share your latest obsession, something you want to recommend to the world.
Oh, like Kang Chu-chan.
Yeah,
Okay,
Kangchu-chan.
Kangchu. There's this drama
Oh.
called
Isn't that weird ass 사극 drama?
You know
It
what?
is-
남국민.
I don't appreciate the
wallpaper.
adjective, but yes.
Danielle's wallpaper is currently a screenshot
This is actually
of
a
the drama.
very beautiful screenshot.
Yeah.
though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the best drama I've seen in the past 5 years.
Wow. That
That's-
Yes. And I've tried
big statement.
I've
It
tried
is.
recommending it to many people and no one has loved it.
This drama kind of like trumped over your Lovely Runner interest.
It is the reason I cannot watch Lovely Runner.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it's so good.
Because like the character in Yeonin, in English it's called My Dearest, is my all-time favorite male character.
Wow.
all
All
time.
dramas.
Why?
Why? You gotta watch it. It's like he's just so yoyu. Like
Like so swaggy.
He's such a gangster in what he does.
Oh.
He's I don't know.
People did watch some episodes.
I
and they
have
didn't.
I have some friends who have tried.
I watched
She
2
has
episodes.
tried.
Oh,
Yeah, dude, I'm sweating.
thinking about this drama and that man.
It's so.
What's
it's
his name?
Lee Jang-yeon,
No.
남궁민?
Nam Gung-min.
Nam Gung-min
So,
is the actor.
I don't love him, but I love, and it's like this sounds so stupid. It's like one of the first times I felt like I want to be loved by this man,
Wow. By this character.
Or like,
Yes.
I want to be loved like this.
by this man. Like I would love to find someone who loves me as much as he loves Kirche.
Wow. Her name is Kirche.
I will say I have seen some people talk about it online, so I don't. I believe you when you say that
It
it's a
got
good drama.
best drama of the year.
Yeah. So that's your Kangchu?
Wow. It got best drama of the year.
NBC best drama of the year.
Over, wait, what year?
What is it called? My Lovely?
Oh, so it was last year.
My Dearest.
My Lovely Runner? Did you say My Lovely?
남궁민과 대상.
Oh.
But it's just funny because Danielle started watching this drama when Lovely Runner was the whole craze.
Yeah.
And she's watching a drama from 2 years ago.
Well, I mean,
1 year,
she's
1
the one who recommended Lovely Runner to us. And she was like,
Yeah.
I'm saving it because I'm going to get too upset.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then she ended up just
That's
forgetting
true.
about it because of Namgungmin.
Wait,
That's
yeah,
very true.
I don't understand that logic, man.
What?
Wait. Okay. So, wait, is it on Netflix?
It's on
It
Viki
piqued your interest?
Vicky?
and on demand. Part of the reason I kangchu it is
Yeah.
because the love, yes, that's a great part of it, but the war, they make it.
History.
No. Okay, I don't like sagas
Yeah.
because I don't understand what they're saying and
Yeah.
stuff. But this saga, and that's it's part of the reason is because the way Lee Jang-yeon navigates the situation.
Who's Lee Jang-yeon?
The man,
Oh, okay.
because basically his character, he was thrown away by Chosun,
Oh.
but he still loves. He acts like he doesn't, but
He loves
he
his-
does.
His nation.
Yes, but he gave up his citizenship because of something that happened, and he felt very betrayed and decided I'm just gonna be a citizenless person. And like while like the chosen men, like they like only scholar and studied, he went out in the world and like studied the world, and he like became like the successful like merchant.
Yeah.
But he comes back at this time when the people he worked for is invading Korea. He doesn't want to help. Okay, anyways, that's my kanchu. I felt that Jess was interested until you sighed.
I did. I was interested. I might start.
No, it's good. It's so he's so smart.
Oh.
That's what's cool.
Okay. I will say I enjoyed 100 Days My Prince with Dio.
That's a saga
It's
too.
a saga. If it's that kind of romance where it's
I
like
don't
very
think so because that's kind of bubbly, right?
it's pretty deep.
All right, everybody. Did you enjoy that episode?
This is how you end it?
Thank you, Danielle, for joining us
Thank you,
live
Danielle.
in Jessica's living room.
That was so good.
Yeah. Jess, did you have fun?
I had so much fun. That was so good. 진짜. And I could see Danielle like
Yeah.
warming up
Yeah.
as we talked for the past 3 hours.
We could go on for like another hour, I
We
think.
can, yeah, definitely.
But Danielle, did you have fun?
I just want to say, Honey Jam, best podcast.
Wow.
She doesn't even listen to us. Though.
These are the funniest, for those of you who do not know Janice and Jess. Very funny
Thank you.
people.
Aw, thanks, Dan.
Please follow, subscribe, and like.
On @HoneyJamPod on Instagram and watch us live on YouTube. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.